Have you ever watched an NBA game and thought, what kind of player is that? Is he a sharpshooter, a point guard in disguise, or a freak athlete trapped in the wrong position? NBA player archetypes are as varied as the players themselves, and today we're diving deep into the most confusing ones. The ones that make you scratch your head and say, I need answers. Stay tuned as we break down these puzzling player types with real-life examples and help you see the NBA through a whole new lens. Let's get started. Welcome back to NBA's Hidden History, where we explore the world of basketball beyond the court. If you've been watching the NBA for a while, you've probably noticed some players that don't fit into the typical archetypes we're used to. Maybe you've seen a 7-foot center knocking down threes or a small guard posting up bigger players. It's time to break down some of these confusing player archetypes and explore what makes them so interesting and sometimes so puzzling. In this video, we're going to give you the breakdown of the most mind-boggling NBA player archetypes and explain exactly what makes them work, or in some cases, not work. Let's kick things off with one of the most confusing archetypes of modern basketball, the positionless player. Gone are the days when you could easily categorize players into fixed roles. Today's NBA is all about flexibility, and players like Giannis Antetokounmpo and Draymond Green have thrown the concept of positions out the window. Giannis, for example, stands 7 feet tall, yet he's expected to handle the ball, initiate offense, and defend multiple positions. The NBA now celebrates players who can do a little bit of everything, and while that sounds great, it leaves fans and analysts scratching their heads trying to pinpoint what role they actually play on their teams. Are they a forward, a center, a guard with height? These players can impact the game in so many different ways, but trying to pin them down into a traditional archetype? Well, that's where the confusion lies. Giannis' game is the epitome of the positionless player. While his stats scream forward, his ability to bring the ball up the court and facilitate the offense makes him seem more like a point guard than a traditional big man. And defensively, he can switch on nearly any player, making him invaluable to his team. Next up, we have the stretch 5, the center who can shoot the three-pointer. This archetype has taken the NBA by storm, with big men like Nikola Jokic and Karl-Anthony Towns changing what we expect from the position. Traditionally, the center was the guy who sat in the paint, grabbed rebounds and dunked on every possession. But with the rise of the stretch 5, suddenly you have players who can shoot from deep range, making them far more mobile and unpredictable. But here's where it gets confusing. Is the center still a center if he's shooting threes and spreading the floor like a forward? Or has the position fundamentally shifted? Jokic isn't just a center, he's the focal point of the Denver Nuggets offense. Running plays, making passes, and pulling defenders away from the basket with his shooting. He's like a hybrid center who can do everything except maybe play above the rim consistently. But is he really just a traditional center, or has he revolutionized the role? Let's talk about the big guard. What do you do when a player is listed as a shooting guard but stands 6 feet 7 inches or taller? This is where players like James Harden and Ben Simmons come into play. These players are bigger, stronger, and often more versatile than your average point guard, but they still run the offense like one. The confusion with the big guard archetype arises when you try to categorize them. Are they shooting guards? Point guards? Small forwards? Their size and ability to impact the game in multiple ways make it hard to settle on a single role. Harden has the body of a shooting guard but the playmaking skills of a point guard. At times he can be the lead scorer, but other times he takes on the role of facilitator. It's not just about scoring for him, and that flexibility leads to confusion about where he truly belongs in a traditional lineup. Now let's shift gears and talk about one of the most underrated archetypes in the NBA, the defensive specialist. These players aren't going to light up the scoreboard, but they're likely to make life hell for whoever they guard. Think of players like Tony Allen or Matisse Thybulle. The confusion here is obvious. In a league that's obsessed with scoring, how does a player who doesn't score much still find success? And more importantly, can you really classify them as a complete player if they're only known for their defense? Tony Allen, known as one of the NBA's best defenders during his career, made a name for himself as a 3-and-D player, meaning he'd hit some outside shots. But his real value was locking down opponents on the defensive end. He played a pivotal role for the Memphis Grizzlies, but his offensive game was often overlooked. So what makes him great, and why does his archetype make things tricky? The combo guard archetype is another confusing one, especially because these players blur the line between point guard and shooting guard. Players like CJ McCollum or Jrue Holiday often take the role of the combo guard, capable of running the offense but also thriving in a scoring role. The confusion here lies in the question, is the combo guard a point guard, a shooting guard, or is it just a new hybrid position? Some players are better at facilitating, but their shooting prowess makes them just as dangerous as scorers. Holiday is often viewed as the perfect combo guard. He can initiate the offense, but also score at a high level when needed. He's not quite a traditional point guard and not quite a shooting guard, so he's in this confusing middle ground that's tough to classify. Lastly, let's talk about the role player who gets big minutes. These players typically wouldn't be stars on most teams, but because of the system or circumstances, they end up playing critical roles in big moments. Players like Andre Iguodala or Pat Connaughton fit this mold.
James dribbling it off his foot. Iguodala, good defense, gets it back, drives inside.
The confusion here is simple. What do you do when a player who usually fits into a role ends up having a major impact? Can we still call them a role player, or have they transcended that label? And do we really know what their position is if they seem to fill a variety of gaps? Iguodala, once a Finals MVP with the Warriors, is a perfect example. He's a role player in the sense that he's not a go-to scorer, but when the Warriors need him to lock down LeBron James or hit a clutch shot, he steps up. So, is he just a role player, or has he evolved into something else? As the NBA continues to evolve, so do its players. The game has changed in ways that we never saw coming. The player archetypes we've discussed today, like the positionless players and the stretch five, are a prime example of how basketball is becoming more dynamic, versatile, and unpredictable. What was once a game of clearly defined positions is now a fluid system where roles are constantly being redefined. This shift isn't just about players becoming more skilled. It's about the entire concept of what a player can be and how they can contribute to the game. Take a moment to reflect on the diversity in playing styles, skill sets, and physical attributes that have emerged in recent years. From guys who can stretch the floor and play inside at the same time, to players who don't fit traditional molds but still dominate on the court. These confusing player archetypes are rewriting the rulebook. We're not just talking about big changes on the court, but also a transformation in the very essence of how basketball is played and understood. Next time you're tuning into an NBA game and you see a player doing something unexpected or stepping into a role that doesn't fit the traditional archetype, think about how much the game has evolved. The days of labeling players with rigid positions are behind us. What we're witnessing now is the evolution of the game into something far more unpredictable, fast-paced, and complex. So let's hear from you. Which player archetype do you find the most confusing? Who stands out to you as a player that breaks the mold? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your take. And of course, if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss out on more basketball insights. The NBA's evolution is just getting started, and I can't wait to dive into more of these fascinating transformations with you. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.